They didn't mean to fail. They just didn't know any better. That's how most Malinois disasters begin, with good intentions and heartbreaking consequences. First-time dog owners don't set out to ruin their dog's life, but with a breed like the Belgian Malinois, even small mistakes can snowball into massive regret. This isn't your average dog. This is a working weapon with fur. And if you're not ready, the dog will know before you do. The first mistake? Underestimating what high drive really means. Most people hear that term and think, oh, they just need a little extra fetch. No. A high drive Malinois doesn't want to play, they want a mission. They want structure. They want a handler who can outthink them, outlast them, and outlead them. When they don't get that, they start creating problems, chasing shadows, biting ankles, dismantling couches, and pacing the house like caged lions. And the owner, usually overwhelmed and confused, mistakes it for bad behavior instead of unmet instinct. Then comes mistake number 2, relying on love instead of leadership. First-time owners often believe that affection can fix anything. But with a Malinois, love without rules creates chaos. This breed doesn't just want to be around you, they want to know exactly what to do when they're around you. And if you don't tell them clearly, confidently, and consistently, they will either dominate you or fall apart emotionally. A Malinois without direction is a ticking time bomb. Not because they're bad, but because they were designed to follow, serve, and perform. And here's a big one, mistake number 3, assuming early socialization is optional. Malinois are naturally suspicious, territorial, and hyper-aware. If you don't carefully and intentionally socialize them from a very young age, you're setting the stage for a lifetime of reactivity, fear aggression, or worse. Many first-time owners avoid dog parks, public spaces, or obedience classes because their dog seems nervous or too much. But avoiding the challenge only fuels the fear. What they needed was exposure, not retreat. Controlled, gradual socialization is critical, and without it, the Malinois becomes an emotional prisoner in its own mind. Mistake 4? Ignoring mental stimulation. Exercise is only half the equation. Yes, these dogs need to run, jump, and work their bodies, but they crave mental work even more. Scent tracking, puzzle feeders, advanced obedience drills, tactical games, these aren't luxuries. They're essential. First-time owners who skip this step often end up with neurotic, obsessive, or destructive dogs, not because the Malinois is unstable, but because its brain is starving. And a starving mind will feed itself. Usually in ways you don't want. Another massive mistake? Letting the dog roam without a job. Many new owners give the Malinois freedom way too early, off-leash in the backyard, unsupervised in the house, or even free access to every room. It feels like kindness, but to a Malinois, it feels like a lack of structure. This dog doesn't want to explore, it wants to work. When you give it too much freedom before it's earned, you create confusion, anxiety, and rebellion. The dog starts making decisions on its own. And in a world where the Malinois is in charge, things get dangerous fast. But the worst mistake? Thinking it's the dog's fault. When things go wrong, when bites happen, when the furniture is shredded and the family's at its breaking point, most people look at the dog and ask, "What's wrong with you?" The truth is, they should be asking, "What did I fail to give you?" A Belgian Malinois will reflect your structure, your energy, your standards. It will expose your weaknesses and ignore your words unless your actions back them up. It doesn't obey out of love. It obeys because you've earned its respect. There was a woman, first-time owner, who adopted a 9-week-old Malinois puppy. She had done some research, watched a few training videos, and thought she was ready. Within 3 months, she had bite marks on her arms, claw marks on her furniture, and neighbors afraid to visit. She kept saying, "I just want him to be happy." But what he wanted wasn't cuddles, it was clarity. And she wasn't giving it. The day she surrendered him to a working dog rescue, she cried harder than she had in years. Not because he was aggressive, but because she realized he never had a chance to be who he was meant to be. This breed doesn't just require effort, it demands transformation. You don't get to stay the same person and successfully raise a Malinois. You have to become sharper, calmer, more consistent, more aware. Every day. First-time owners often enter the relationship thinking they're getting a dog. What they don't realize is, they're getting a mirror. The Malinois will show you every inconsistency, every insecurity, every lack of leadership you didn't even know you had. But here's the silver lining. If you're willing to learn, really learn, the Malinois can become your greatest teacher. It will push you, challenge you, force you to grow. It won't let you be lazy. It won't let you lie to yourself. It won't let you coast. That's the gift inside the chaos. But only if you're ready for it. So if you're a first-time dog owner and you're still thinking about getting a Belgian Malinois, ask yourself this: are you looking for a pet? Or are you looking for a project that will demand your discipline, your presence, and your humility, every single day? Because with a Malinois, you don't just raise a dog. You raise yourself, or the dog breaks you down until you do.